gerbs, brushing my hair. For several hours you were on the ground punching the air. I'm alive, one of infinitely under repair. Some people call me Ace Rock, some is somebody there. Shh, somebody's not, and it's more than a passive vacancy. It's less than zero people stealing baguettes out the bakery. Witness like who wasn't that? And roots will prove a negative and losing. Trying to enter antimatter into evidence. Break the expletives. Back in holy country where the neighbor's cat is missing and no coyote is hungry. And every lizard leaping. I'm every bit indecent, aiming for whoever presently king of the tetrahedron. The funny part is who would even want to sit up there? Throne schmoan, I'm home in a Herman Miller chair, working, hunched over something, blowing smoke, Kirby on his lap, purring, cervical spine chirping, chills. It's perfect, certain as the plaid shirt tag reads Kirkland. I walk around late, cross the bridge back. Never passed the quiz for a bridge troll's trick bag. Even if he offers 3 guesses, I appreciate the interest, but will not be taking questions. I will be taking any route I want, including dead ends, to any place I want, including all the many heavens. But it's a mess out here. I heard it's a mess there too. Remember when the smoke starts flowing and your eyes start stinging and your throat starts closing, what a little fresh air can do. By the first red sliver of day stars, somebody went and freed a couple chickens in the graveyard. Weird flex, but I like a weird flex. I like an odd duck who adheres to a spirit quest per se. Fish swim in circles where he curdles. Dogs purr, birds fly inverted. Perps turn to serpents, but the waves are yay high. The surface way up, and ocean water rain sustain the grapevine. Get barreled, get spat through space-time. Beached where you dress strange, different plane and dateline. Before the stop, stare and questionnaire. Bitch, I dress like a rocket man everywhere. Pops had a pinball machine from the 60s. I can still hear it ringing when I'm pinging off epiphanies. Ping, 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 there go the king of zing, who made it up the precipice and never kissed a pinky ring. Rappel through a skylight once a week, or feel like I'm someone I don't wanna be. I used to party with animatronic Chuck E. Cheese. Any celebrities I met since then were fucking weak. The door knocker talks might make you solve a riddle before you bother the boss. Y'all get off my lawn, it's a Bob Ross. And no eye contact with the shop dogs. It's a mess out here. I heard it's a mess there too. Remember when the smoke starts flowing and your eyes start stinging and your throat starts closing, what a little fresh air can do.
There we go. Finally, the sound is working. Yes, amazing rap music that makes children see the truth in the darkness. You understand how that goes. Well, Razor, of course, we're going to start with some solid JJ, and then we're going to work our way into some other nonsense. How you doing, by the way? Good to see you, Zephyr, Razor. So, before I get to something sad, let's go with
Not another stuff, Bruce, or I'll blow his frickin' brains out.
That's enough, Jason. Put down the gun.
Better listen, Jimmy. Don't want to upset Daddy Dearest now, do we?
Shut up, Jason! After everything he's done to me, you're still picking his side, huh?
Jason, all those years ago, when he took you from me, I swore
Yeah, I know you would avenge me, but what about all those other times?
What other times?
He beat me to death with a crowbar!
It was a smashing time.
Sorry, John, but 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Okay, this time he drowned me at the bottom of the ocean.
Sounds fishy.
Sorry, John, but 3 wrongs don't make a right.
I don't even want to kill him this time. Let me just pull the fucking trigger to feel what it would feel like. Jason, if you super soak a Joker with a super soaker, do you know what that makes you? A super soakerer. What? What are you trying to say?
Super Joker
Super
soaker.
Joker soaker. What? He would be, it's like a killer.
Damn, it actually
Okay,
said
okay,
it.
Bruce, just listen to me this time, okay? He's got like a cult island thing. What?
Where did you use the Joker?
What the fuck are you?
Where did you use the Joker?
What the fuck?
I'm so sorry you had to see that, Jason. I was abusing painkillers and...
I don't care. My point is that this man,
People
this
like
one
Christian
man,
Bale Batman,
has
I
done
don't get
so
it.
much. He's inflicted so much pain on others, other people you know, to me. And all this time later, you want me to just let him walk?
Damn it, Jason.
Let's
You
go.
don't think I thought about it? Dreamt about what it would feel like to just let go and just... Well, I can't. I won't. Also, he was ambassador of Iran.
What?
He became ambassador of Iran. It gave
What?
him political security. I couldn't touch him.
What the fuck? He could just do that?
I guess. I don't know.
How the fuck did he do that?
Let's not talk about Iran right now. I don't need the comments.
Okay, well, he's not now, right? So I could just do it. Right? Like he's not?
Not anymore. Not
And no other Middle Eastern areas
Drop
or
it,
anything,
drop it.
right?
All right,
Like-
but look at us now. You're here now, aren't you?
Yeah, hardly. Every time you fail to stop him, he's taking more and more away from me.
What are you talking about? You look just fine. I mean, it's been a while since I last saw you, but
But Razor, he's the ambassador of Iran.
Okay, damn. Wow, you just
What?
nothing. Just I guess you're just you're half the man you used to be. 1/4. 1/8.
I really gotta hand it to you, boy wonder. Well, I've only got the first part, but that was the main
Look,
part.
you don't have to agree with me. You could even arrest me for all I care. But how could you tell me not to put this man down after all he's done to me?
I don't believe I have to. The fact that every time we find ourselves here, you've yet to pull the trigger, tells me everything. Despite his best efforts, you're no
He's got a
murderer,
noodle.
Jason.
Seems you fingered me. No, didn't work.
You're my son, Jason. No matter how much of you realizes it.
All right.
Really? Just like that?
Yeah, I think I've been waiting to hear those words for a very long time. Also, this isn't even a real gun. It's paper. It's clearly paper. It's not even close to looking real. Look at me. It's taped to me. I'm adorable.
Well, now that that's settled, let's say we pick up right where we left off. Together.
Batman and Robin, back in action.
Right you are, Jason. Right you are. So how does going to the bathroom work?
Oh, it's not actually that weird. I just have.
Jason!
Okay, so I don't know if anybody but me has watched these videos with this Russian crossdresser that gets on like Omegle and trolls people. I'll pull up one.
Playing System of a Down by any chance?
I'm very intrigued. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what your real voice is. See, now you're confusing me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Is there a third one?
No, it's the first one.
So that's the only one.
Pretty much.
Stop the cap!
Nah, do the other one again.
Oh, the big Russian man.
Why are you doing that?
Dude, I
What's the
love these
point of
videos.
I don't know, it just confuses
But
people.
apparently
it's
somebody
Has
assaulted
anyone
them.
said that that second voice was hot?
Not really.
What if I told you I was?
Then I would give you an Arara, my brother.
I'm so confused.
Who am I, brother? I'm just a cute anime girl.
What do you identify as?
Big Russian man.
So
Big
that means
Russian
you're just a
man.
really feminine man because you got. very
Feminine. Watch your mouth. Who's feminine? Bro, do you play in System of a Down by any chance?
I'm very intrigued. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what your real voice.
So
I got punched during my first IRL livestream in Ireland. I got included in my I Investigate Ireland as a Woman video during my comeback in early August. Yeah, that's right, those series are back after very popular request. But this incident spread like wildfire across the internet and especially Twitter, which
finding
surprisingly
out
the
about it
amount of
today.
people taking the guy's side is concerning to say the least. I will play the clip first for context.
No, it's YouTube.
is your brain confused or are your pants
No, it's YouTube.
confused?
YouTube. Yeah, it's YouTube.
YouTube. Active. Where are you from?
I'm Russian. You?
Russian.
Yeah.
Oh, Luis, eh? How old are you?
23. You?
23,
Yeah.
I'm 20. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Natalie.
Natalie, yeah?
Yeah.
Where you going now, Natalie?
I'm going to the bars.
Going to the bars. How many views we got? Oh,
Oh.
famous, eh?
A little. Just a little, yeah.
Oh, what you going? You going home tonight?
Sorry, what?
You want to come home with me tonight?
Oh, no.
I almost pulled up that clip, but it's not as funny.
I'll let you guess. Oh fuck, bro, chill. Bro, chill. Oh fuck. Oh
See, that right there is
First of all,
crazy.
it's
Number one, he hit on them. Like, he first called them out. And then once he realized what he thought he was attracted to wasn't what he liked, he decided to lash out about it. And that's crazy to me. I don't understand how you get to that position.
really crazy to me that many people are like, Vlad, why didn't you fight back? When it's pretty public that I had jaw surgery 3 months ago, and that thing needs a minimum of 6 months to heal. So risking something like that would be way too stupid. Not to mention that I was tagged, I was wearing heels, I was holding it
That's what
first,
I
and I
got
was
from it,
holding a
Zephyr.
tripod with the stream on. So realistically, I didn't have any chance of fighting back. And if I did, yeah, I wouldn't risk the surgery in any way. Anyways, many people said that what I do is transphobic, and therefore I deserved it. And others are simply way
How is
too
it
right-wing,
transphobic?
calling me a fag, and saying that the guy indeed did the right thing. I will address everything, so let's start. Firstly, how do right-wing people support
Wait, let me know if you want to watch the whole thing, because I'm going to pull up some more news. This thing's about 26 minutes long, so if you want to watch the whole thing, but I just wanted to, like, make people aware of this thing that happened, because, like, dead ass, it's his own fault for hitting on the person. They would have just walked right by him, never would have said a word to him, but because all of a sudden they feel some kind of way because they heard Russian man voice when they thought they saw hot chick, they felt some kind of way and decided to actually attack them.
this behavior? Because they're the ones who are hating illegal immigrants because some of them act like violent animals. The incident in Belfast is a good example of that. But then they go on Twitter and support somebody who is also acting like a violent animal. Something doesn't add up here. How can you hate a behavior and then embrace it?
Violent.
Also, we found out that the guy who punched me is also a drug dealer, which, funny enough, drugs is also one of the reasons that the right wing hates a group of people. Like, how funny would it be if a guy who supports that guy for punching me then learns that his kid is buying drugs from that guy? It would be pretty ironic, right? This indeed makes no sense, and I'll give credit to Asmongold for being the first to say it.
I think this is ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This is what happens when you deceive someone and think it's funny. Not saying it's assault. I understand it. This is guys,
straight up assault.
Because you get attracted to a cross-dresser, that doesn't mean you get to punch the cross-dresser in the face. Okay?
Wow.
Like that's, you know who does that? The people that I say should be deported every day shouldn't do that. They do that, okay?
Even
like,
Asmon's simple ass gets it.
It's so stupid. Why is anybody acting like this is normal? Should not hit somebody over this. Are you kidding me? It's so stupid. And also, he was the one propositioning her. Like, why are there so many people defending this? These people are surprised that faking their gender to essay a straight guy is wrong. Wait, what are they?
Like, he was in danger of being SA'd. Like, literally, they were just like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Going to the bars? At any point, they could have just walked away. This is crazy. But yeah, Asmon is correct on this. This is not exactly what you want to do. And the fact that they were a drug dealer, I don't know how much that changed anything, but like maybe they were hollering at them to see if they wanted to buy drugs, but they didn't seem like they were offering drugs or anything like that. That could have been a quick exchange. Instead, they decided to attack them once they heard a deep voice.
They talking about sexual assault? Like, what?
99% of the stream was extremely fun for everyone involved, including the guys who fell for it. But all they did was have a good laugh and things ended there. But that guy was the first one to catcall me. Then he saw that I was live, he willingly stayed into the stream, he saw the amount of viewers that the stream had, which I believe it was around 1,000.
What up, Kay?
And he still decided to stay into the stream, which means he...
Okay, smash or pass? I need to know. Because I can't get a read on these things. Did the drug dealer have a point, or was this completely off base?
He was fully aware of what was going on.
I already
And
knew your
regardless
answer, Razor.
of all of that, he still continued to his actions. Funny enough, he even kinda suspected that I
Detroit
wasn't
smack.
a girl. So in a way, he was even prepared for
My
it.
man.
Which brings me to my second point, where people say that my content is transphobic, and allow me to explain why that's completely false. First of all, I'm an ally, obviously. The first argument that many people use is that my content is transphobic because I am not trans. And you know that an argument is bad when it can just get deleted by me just coming and saying, hey, I'm trans. If
United
that's all I have to
States
do
of
in order to
Smash.
basically make you have no argument, you know it's a bad argument. The other thing people accuse me of
Like, I love
is
this person's
acting like a
videos.
girl
They are
and baiting
hilarious to
straight
me.
guys, therefore putting trans women to danger. Because instead of women, they will be seen as someone who is baiting men. Do you honestly think that if that animal found out that I'm not a biological woman, with me not dropping the voice, therefore putting me in
Like, honestly, like, I'll probably never end up in this situation, but if I hit on someone and they happen to not be of the persuasion I'm expecting them to be, that's on me for hitting on them in the first place. Like, that's just where I'm at. Maybe there's something, I've not addressed within myself that apparently is finding myself attracted to this person. That's on me, not on them. And I don't get to take a swing. And if they decide, they're interested in me back, and I end up finding out, I'll it becomes like what Razor just said.
the exact spot a trans woman could have been, he would have acted in any other way. Honestly, someone who resorts to violence as their very, very first response, yeah, I don't think he would have done anything else in that scenario. Therefore, instead of actually me embracing the problem, if that makes sense, I'm actually highlighting the danger that trans women are facing on a daily basis. It's the exact same logic with how my content rose awareness for the issues that women are facing. And I've got that thousands of times in my DMs and countless times in person by guys telling me that their sisters, wives, girlfriends, or anything else were telling them how dangerous and how bad things actually
Good point
are,
there, Toby.
but they wouldn't believe them because they couldn't see it
I
anywhere.
don't necessarily
how it
fault
actually
them
happens
because, like,
until
they're
they saw
not
my
from that
content.
area. They
So
don't know
in
who the
that
drug
way,
dealers
it is
are or what they
definitely
look like.
a very important and positive.
Pretty sure if Natalie was in Russia, they would have known it was a drug dealer. I guess the tracksuit probably should have gave it away, but here we are. And as I'm seeing this green water, it makes me think of Washington and a whole lot of ducks that are in danger right now.
Impact. This exact logic of awareness applies to trans women as well. So to those that are calling me a transphobe, I genuinely believe that you should kinda chill with the victim mentality. Also, many people are
get
calling him
ouchie.
gay for being attracted to me, which again doesn't make any sense, since being attracted to femininity is not gay in any way. Oh, she happens to have a penis?
Not
Just
only
say it, that's
America,
not
but
my
the
thing,
ducks
and
that live in
continue your day.
America.
I don't
The
get why you
ducks
gotta
did nothing
overcomplicate
wrong.
things
Well, they
so
probably
much.
did,
Like,
but
do you think
for
a
the
gay
sake
guy
of
would
argument.
be attracted to a trans woman? Most likely not. And since I am at the trans topic, I've noticed that the community has a largely divided opinion on me. Many do understand that I have a positive impact on the community, and I'll explain in a bit in detail how. But others simply hate my guts and hope that I am unalived.
Also found this conversation of a trans woman who hates me a lot, and I feel that if you take a moment to read it, you'll see exactly the irony and how haters struggle with common sense. As they say, I'm doing content that promotes a stereotype against trans women, but then they do the exact same thing and call it feeling good about themselves. For context, there is a stereotype that being trans is tied to corn addiction or autogenophilia, which is
What?
not true, but funny enough, the people who say that my content promotes stereotypes against trans women do the exact same thing with a different way, promoting the stereotype that I mentioned. Read the conversation on screen to get the context and enjoy the irony. Hypocritical self
What's so shitty about talking in a deep masculine voice? Trans women come in all shapes and forms, and we don't owe anyone femininity. Do you have a brain? I'm obviously talking about doing it on purpose for views and attention. How's it any different from trans women posting thirst traps and reveal that they have a girl cock just for the views and attention? One is pushing a harmful, weird stereotype about trans women. The other is feeling good about themselves and posting it, or maybe it's their only source of income. No, it's the same thing. This is reaching. You can still be harmful with that, but you can also just not do transphobic captions or whatever. I recall when trans people said the same about how girl dicks perpetuated a harmful, weird stereotype about trans women. They were called slurs like true scum and told they were being hateful, exclusionary, and there's no right way to be a woman. What makes us any different? Both present as a female for attention/attraction and deliberately drop the male reality for a shock and engagement. Meanwhile, transsexuals who simply wish to live a normal life I have to put up with all these negative stereotypes. How you can condone one and condemn another? This is crazy. What, we get a vote in 2028? No, that can't be right.
Serving views indeed.
I'm being
Oh, and of
gaslit.
course, those same people who want me unalived are the same people who are against violence and stuff like that. I guess they only support violence towards people they hate. I have even seen people saying,
Well, since you said that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this short because I think we get the gist on this. I can get straight to some more news. Because,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Joy! It is the news! How? God, why is this happening to me? Of all people, me! Cody! I'm a great guy!
But I did see that Trump was pushing for nuclear reactors to be built. I mean, with anything he does, and you can say this is TDS or whatever, I literally need to know the motivation and what he's actually doing, no matter how good or bad the thing is, because I just don't trust them. And this video is going to get into why I don't trust them.
Good guy? I'm a guy who's never purposefully done harm to anyone. I've never killed anyone on purpose without a good reason. Listen. News!
I agree with Razor on this
Then
one.
like and subscribe. You hate it? Still like and subscribe. And here's some news. Jared Kushner. God, of all the names I could have said, that guy, he's got the face of a man who would hunt you for sport. A walking sleep paralysis hallucination.
So I was supposed to debate Rob Noor this week, and I was thinking about bringing up this topic of our current president's family enriching themselves on The Office or the Iran war. And so this was going to be a nice little refresher before tomorrow, but I have to wait 2 more weeks to get a crack at Rob Noor. So we'll just hold this in the pocket and let me know what you think I should go at Rob Noor with. Of course I want help.
Like if the Hat Man
Always
got into
want your
real
help,
estate.
Kay.
Remember when he used to be a big problem here in America? Now he's Albania's problem, I guess. But also, and here's some more news, he is still our problem. Maybe he's not as present among the clown ocean that is the current administration, but he's still there.
Good God.
Standing in the back, blending into the wallpaper like an upper-class spider. Or a wasp, both meanings. It's easy
An
to
actual
forget him.
wasp.
He's like the silence in Doctor Who, but somehow more unnerving. And he's just out there
What do we got?
amongst us.
We pause and we see what Kay is giving us.
Store.com. We've got hats, Trump 2028, 4 more years, Gulf of America. Of course, the classic Make America Great Again in various shapes and sizes and colors.
Trump is
and bundles
way,
for
way
you and all
richer
your
than you think.
friends.
Yes,
But
he
really,
absolutely is.
TrumpStore.com
He's richer
has
than he
everything.
ever was
You've got
before he
shot
got into
glasses, wine
office.
glasses, liquor glasses, beer glasses, teddy bears, kitchen essentials, robes and linens, skincare, pickleball paddles, dog collars, blankets, candles,
Pickleball
perfume, ornaments,
paddles.
shoelaces, ties, and pins. For some reason, they sell a $1,200 deck chair on here. It's just a humongous mess of stuff. They've got keychains, sneakers, shirts, jackets, vests, pajamas, tote bags, jewelry, workout
mean, this
clothes,
is the
an entire
beginning for
section
me.
Golf supplies.
I mean, this is the start of the video.
TrumpStore.com. We've got hats, Trump 2020.
We were like 35
in
seconds in.
Swarovski crystal that's listed as gold, even though they only sell it in silver. Actually, though, I kind of do like this: the USA 250 anniversary hat. that features the
$55 for a
Liberty Bell,
hat?
a bald eagle, the Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, and the American
I mean, that's where it
flag,
started from
all
for me.
embroidered on one trucker hat. This might be the nicest thing on here. This is probably what happens
Getting a
when you go to an
rainbow
Alibaba
MAGA hat,
supplier and say,
they
hey,
will love
take
it.
my logo and put it on one of every.
And here's the funny thing about MAGA. As long as you're on their side, they'd probably be cool with a rainbow MAGA hat. They'll take Blair White in. They'll take Amber Rose in. Like all the people that do not fit into what the GOP usually stands for. If you are down for Trump, they will like you as long as they can use you. So if they think they can use you with your rainbow MAGA hat, you will be in there like swimwear.
Everything you have. There's no vision, no style, no aesthetic. It's just merch slop. Regardless of my opinion, though, the point is the Trump Store makes a ton of money. Known on paper as T Retail LLC, TrumpStore.com has been around since 2017 when Trump first became president.
That's a whole
And
ass
since then,
hoodie, not a
it's
hat.
generated
And the hat's
between
$4 more
18
than
and
that hoodie
$20
is.
million in sales. This is the first time an American president has sold merch while in office, let alone making millions of dollars a year while doing so. But if you're wondering what this means,
Ain't no
my
way.
answer is that really it means nothing. Did you guys really think I was going to make an entire 40-minute video where the entire point is just me crying that the president selling millions of dollars worth of bedroom slippers and shot glasses on an online merch store is a symbol of the rapidly approaching death of the United States as a nation? Okay, I lied. That actually is exactly what I think that means. But the deeper I started to look at how the Trump family is making money right now, the online merch store started to look downright innocent. But more importantly, I'm late for an appointment to go get my new watch. This is the Fight 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 Red Beauty timepiece, a $499 watch sold by Trump Watches that basically looks and feels like something you could get behind the counter at a bodega in Chinatown.
Yeah, that looks
you guys
garbage.
Hear that? This is my Tissot. This is the nicest watch I have. I've had it for 2 years, worn it almost every day. This is my brand new Trump watch. Incredible. This watch represents
if I was
something
president,
that's
I have
never
my own
happened
strain of
before
weed.
in American history. The president is running a business empire in the White House.
That's the real deal. That's the real deal.
Today we're here to introduce Trump Mobile.
Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
But the watch is really just the funny part. The $3 million they made from selling these watches is a lot. I could retire my whole family forever with that money, but it's also nothing in comparison to the Gulf state money, the Israeli real estate
water
money, the
kush,
crypto
yeah.
companies, the defense startup contracts, and this whole network of family and friends that are making billions of dollars from Donald Trump's status as president. Really, this video is about one simple question.
And I wouldn't
How
take a
did the
dime
Trump
off the
empire
sales. I
turn
would
the
just be happy that I did a
presidency
service
into
for
business opportunity?
Americans.
Just how deep does their mixing of politics and money go, and what does it mean for the rest of us? So the Trump watch brand, which is known legally as the Best Watches on Earth LLC, is actually a whole line
Hey,
of
what's good,
watches. And
Dusty?
it ranges from what I've got here all the way to the $100,000 Trump Victory watches that are made entirely out of 18-karat gold and decorated with 100 diamonds and feature tourbillons, tiny handmade cages made from
Tourbillon?
dozens of microscopic rotating parts that typically signify that a watch is very expensive and very high quality. Point being, 2024 and 2025 saw the release of a whole range of Trump branded product lines. They recently did a line of $250 perfumes and colognes that come in bottles shaped as golden Trump statues, Trump guitars, a line of instruments adorned with gigantic bald eagles and American flags. They even launched GodBlessTheUSA.com, a website where you can buy a $100 book that contains the US Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the King James.
After we just got done with the whole trans thing, okay, that's exactly what they want. They want the inspection tables.
Holy Bible, and the lyrics to League.
How much is a Bible usually? What is this? What version is this Bible? Well, it is the Trump version because it's got like the US Constitution or whatnot in it. But like, how much is a Bible? They range usually between $4 and $10. I can get this bound version for like 27 bucks from Macy's, no less. A KJV from Target, $17.96. An ESV Study Bible, which is probably far better, 20 bucks at a Christian bookstore. You know, you got to support. 20 bucks at Target for a KJV, or you can just steal one from your local hotel.
Greenwood's classic song, God Bless the USA. Most recently, the Trump family announced a new brand
Oh,
called
okay, you
Trump
got there
Mobile,
before I
where they're
did.
selling $499 gold-colored made-in-America smartphones. And that's not even to mention the Trump NFT line, which featured a limited run of 45,000 virtual Trump trading cards that all sold out in 24 hours. But point being, when I started looking at what these products actually are and where they're coming from, it quickly got pretty absurd. All of this stuff is presented as grand and luxurious and powerfully American. Let's just look at the watches, right? Now, I'm a guy who likes watches, but
See, this is that hyper nationalism that we keep bringing up when we talk about fascism, and every single conservative is like, what do you mean fascist? He hasn't done anything. Like, literally, the people buying this are already on the hyper nationalism train.
But I have not yet bought a watch that isn't available for next day delivery on Amazon. That's the level I'm at, okay? So I can't really analyze the horological qualities of the Fight Red Beauty, but I can tell you it only took me 5 minutes on Google to find evidence that these $500 to $3,000 watches from TrumpWatches.com are made with $25 worth of Alibaba.
How many times have you heard it, Kay?
You know, not to get too technical, but this Fight Red Beauty
playing
literally
dumb.
has a quartz movement in it for $500. That's pretty insane. I even found a number of posts online from people who claim to be experts saying that the
Vastly
$100,000 Trump watches
overpriced.
are made with Chinese parts as well. The Trump
Wait. Some of those watches are $100,000. You've got to be kidding me. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
phone is the same story.
I'd have
It was
to
found to have been
really love
based on
my
a
country to spend
$200
$100
Chinese
grand.
smartphone with a new back panel installed. And furthermore, those were never even shipped to customers who paid for them. The Trump guitars, the Bible, the sneakers, the fragrances, it's all pretty much the same
Trump
story.
guitars
the Trump
probably
Bible
tune like
that sells for
shit.
$99
We got to get
to
Circa to buy a
Americans
Trump
is
guitar.
pretty crazy to me. It was found by the Associated Press to have been made in
Oh,
China
at least
at a
one
cost
person.
of $3 per book. Meanwhile, for the Trump guitar, the Chinese factory that made those actually came out and said, hey, yeah, that's our work. We did that. You know, it's got these ball leagues.
Now, like in his first administration, when he was talking all this stuff about stuff being made in America, and his Trump ties were made in China but assembled in the US, like all of his stuff, like he constantly lies and acts like he's bringing back things for US production, and he's literally not. He's literally using China to produce all this nonsense to fleece Americans. No, I want to get one of those Trump guitars and send it to Circa. Like that's what I want to do if I didn't want to support Trump. But I think like for the higher end or the higher ticket items, it's probably just people trying to suck up to Trump and showing like, hey, I buy your stuff, and you know, maybe listen to me and give me some favorability.
Eagles, these big flags, make America great again, and then it's just made in some factory in China. And I thought this was kind of funny. After they released Trump guitars, Les Paul sent over a cease and desist and said, hey, you just ripped off our design in its entirety. Like, don't
And
sell
ripped
these anymore.
off Les
The
Paul's
point is
design.
that these products are making the president a mountain of money. So in 2024, the only year for which we have Trump's financial disclosures for his second term so far,
Yeah,
he
Tubby
made
is great.
$3
That's why he has his
million
own
in
note
royalties
here.
from watches, $2.5 million in royalties from sneakers and colognes, $1.3 million for Bibles, $1 million for guitars, $17 million for
Good
NFTs,
God.
$3 million for this coffee table book that I forgot to even mention. Then there's the $60 million they supposedly got in pre-orders for Trump phones, which could turn into $300 million if all the purchases end up going through. We're looking here at
But
a total of
guys,
$87
he
million
doesn't take a
in
paycheck.
sales from Trump branded products just in the last 2 years. Then if you add on to that $15 million from TrumpStore.com, although that number is kind
He
of
has
fuzzy
foregone
because there's
his
some years
salary.
for which we don't have disclosures because Trump wasn't president, we're looking at $102 million in sales on Donald Trump branded products ever since he went into politics. But then there's even more products that I missed. There's TrumpCoins.com, which sells officially licensed Trump medallions made of Troy silver, which costs on the open market $60 for an ounce. But they sell them for $250 a pop, but that brand isn't in any of their financial disclosures. I also somehow missed 2 more coffee table books the Trump family sold, reportedly for a combined $24 million in revenue. But point being, all that together brings us to a very incomplete total of $126 million in presidential merch sold in the last couple of years. But again, that's
This is just in merch. It doesn't even account for all the side deals, the stock trades, none of that.
minus the coins, minus what he did in 2025, minus the total of the Trump phone. We have no idea how much that made yet. The president of the United States having a merch store where you can pay hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to buy stuff with his name on it. It's pretty tacky, guys. It just is. And the fact that it's all overpriced, low quality Chinese stuff despite heavy American branding is honestly to me just kind of hilarious. But at the end of the day, I'm having a hard time taking it that seriously. The more and more I started to understand how the Trump family is generating revenue right now.
Yes, I can
it started
blame him.
Kind of feeling more just
And I blame
funny to me
everyone
than
that voted
anything.
for him.
Because even though they've sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of merch, it's really still just one tiny piece of the pie. The Trump empire began as a family business 99 years ago when recently
He could have
married
been
German
Trump
immigrants
Christ.
Elizabeth and Frederick Trump, the grandparents of President Donald Trump, began buying and developing real estate in the then rapidly developing Queensboro of New York City. 4 generations and 99 years later, the Trump family still leads the business themselves, with Donald's sons Eric and Don Jr. serving as executive vice presidents of the Trump Organization. But as I was researching how exactly the Trump family is making money right now today, more threads than ever seem to lead me towards one person in particular, and that person is Donald Trump's son-in-law,
Jared.
Harvard and NYU.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop this video. We're gonna go into some more news and get to the Jared thing, or do we want to keep watching this one? Because I think both are good. Let's hear what he's going to say on this to begin with, and then we'll get to some more
Most
news.
influential advisors. Please welcome Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner was born in New Jersey in 1981.
He's from
the son of
Jersey.
Charles Kushner, a lawyer, real estate developer, and one of the most powerful landlords on the East Coast, with roughly 25,000 apartments owned across the region. And Charles was also a major Democratic donor, with a social
We're never
circle that
reaching
included
AGI.
Bill and Hillary Clinton and Al Gore. As the son himself of prominent real estate developers and Jewish immigrants from Poland, Charles Kushner was also a major donor to Jewish and Israeli causes, having a close personal relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu to the point where, and this has been widely reported, his son Jared had to give up his childhood bedroom and stay in the basement so Netanyahu could spend the night at the Kushners' home while he traveled through the US. Essentially, the Kushners were the definition of elite. Rich, influential, and well-connected. That is until 2005, when he ended up pleading guilty to 18 counts of illegal campaign contributions, some of which had been made to Hillary Clinton and Al Gore themselves,
Apples
as well
don't
as
fall
tax evasion
far.
and witness tampering.
New Jersey-based developer Charles Kushner is charged with hiring a prostitute to blackmail 2 witnesses in a federal investigation where he is a target.
Referring to the time he famously hired a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law so he could film the encounter, show his
He
sister,
did it to
and blackmail his
family.
family out of cooperating during the tax fraud investigation against him. Ultimately, Charles would be disbarred from practicing law and spend a couple of years at a prison in Alabama, while in the meantime, his now 25-year-old son Jared takes over the family business and quickly begins moving in his own ambitious direction. Jared Kushner's first big investment as the 25-year-old CEO of Kushner Companies was to purchase the New York Observer, a moderately popular
I can see it, Kay.
newspaper that was known for covering culture, real estate
The
development,
vision is
and
clear.
politics from a somewhat highbrow perspective. He purchased it for a sum of $10 million that he reportedly borrowed from his family. But in the years after Kushner's purchase,
small loan
the
of $10
Observer has
million.
been accused of being used as a tool for propaganda against Kushner's rivals in real estate, and its long-term editor-in-chief stepped down after just 2 years of his ownership, famously saying, "This guy doesn't know what he doesn't know." This was also around the time he would meet his future wife, Ivanka Trump, who would convert to Orthodox Judaism when they got married and connected the 2 family real estate empires forever in 2009. Over the next few years, Kushner only kept accumulating more and more properties, starting with a few small apartment buildings around Manhattan, leading into his 2013 purchase of a huge percentage of all the real estate in Dumbo, as well as the acquisition of the former Jehovah's Witness World Headquarters in Brooklyn Heights. He would then acquire a majority stake in One Times Square, the internationally famous building that hosts the yearly New Year's Eve ball drop for $375 million.
I recall that, and he was fucked on that up until Trump got into office.
He
Okay,
could be
just some
in your
more news.
house right now. I really can't stress this enough. Jared Kushner is still our problem. If you or someone you know sees Jared Kushner, please contact the proper authorities who, unfortunately, might be working for Jared Kushner.
What
because
is good,
this
Rip?
spindly penis
Hope
is
you're doing
currently
well.
an ambassador for the Trump administration and negotiator on foreign affairs and former senior staffer to the president and the current special peace envoy, a new title that Trump invented just for him and isn't technically associated with the United States government, which means that Jared could try to avoid disclosing any financial investments like any other official federal civil servant would have to do. Also, it comes with double prize money.
Oh, that's the best thing.
But hey, no need to disclose your conflicts of interest. He's just an innocent business lamb who wants to selflessly use his foreign contacts and relationships to help us and his father-in-law president. And you know, maybe if the benefits go to him along the way, well, who's to say? A little profit splashback. Like if the store manager's son-in-law shows up to help out with your shift at Domino's, maybe they'll grab a free slice and also a few hundies from the register and also sell drugs in the bathroom. Maybe. We don't actually know. We're sort of guessing because President Trump, the president, presidently fired most of the inspectors general at the start of his second term. So no one is really around to see what Kush is up to and call out any conflicts of interest or, gasp, illegal dealings. Just one more messed up, scummy deed to throw on the heap. Stick it on there next to the president suing his own IRS and then settling with taxpayer money, I guess.
I'm
or
glad
maybe
that
they
didn't
aren't
work
going to
out.
do that anymore yet. See, it's hard to give a damn about this one wiener when there are so many more crimes done by much louder dummies. Kushner is just somehow both dull and insidious, like a severed torso with a Lego figure's soul inside. But that's, of course, one of his many powers, to remain on the DL while he very carefully carries out his own agenda. And he does have an agenda. And to understand it, we need to also understand where Jared Kushner came from. Specifically, from this guy's wang.
Since then, I look at life
I mean,
as
honestly, if you're working at
as
Domino's,
a
you have
balance sheet.
every reason to
And
do so.
Many of us have assets, many of us have liabilities. And I've have liabilities for sure. And the mistake
Yeah,
I
no,
made in the
definitely
past
not
is one
that.
of my many
I'm friends with a great deal
That's
of
Charles
conservatives,
Kushner,
just
OG
not MAGA.
Kush, Jared's dad and current ambassador to France. Gee, I wonder how he got that gig. Is he any good at it? Nope. Turns out he's
Also,
so
Nair is
bad
the
at
chosen
it that he
one.
got banned from speaking to French officials after
He
not
will
showing up
fix
to
the
a
balance in
summons
the
from that
force.
country. France called that a, quote, misunderstanding of the basic expectations of an ambassador. No shit. I feel like the number one thing an ambassador needs to do is not get banned from speaking with the country to which they are an ambassador.
That could
What
be
a
helpful.
Reverse Nepo baby. Of course, Jared was just returning the favor. It's a two-generation Nepo baby family. Specifically, a prominent New York real estate family, much like Trump's. Jared's grandparents were Holocaust survivors who immigrated to the U.S. after World War II. His grandfather, Joe, gained significant wealth as a contractor, benefiting from the post-war housing boom in New York and New Jersey. Future Ambassador Charles took over Grandpa Joe's real estate business in the 1980s, not too long after a certain 45th/47th president took over from his wealthy real estate dad. Charles used his money as primarily a Democratic political donor bucket for Clinton, Gore, and New Jersey Governor James McGreevey, among others. In
I mean,
2001,
testy
these
as swamp
connections
beasts
helped Charles
go, I
Kushner become appointed
guess.
chairman of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Now, you may have noticed in that clip I showed, he seemed to be alluding to some kind of sordid past. Here he is again, doing that again.
I am not a perfect person. I made a very, very, very serious mistake.
That was a lot
and
of
I paid a
varies.
very heavy price for that mistake.
See? He's sorry for whatever that was. So back in 2004, Charles pleaded guilty to 16 counts of filing false tax returns, 1 count of making false statements to the Federal Election Commission, and a weird Rube Goldbergian honeypot scheme to hire a sex worker to seduce his brother-in-law in retaliation for his
That's
sister and
crazy.
brother allegedly cooperating with the feds. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but only served 14 months because rich. I should probably explain
Because
what I just
rich.
said. 2 years prior to this, Charles and his brother Murray, Jared's uncle, were in the midst of a civil suit in which Murray accused Charles of violating campaign finance law by making political donations under the names of family members, misusing
Or you
corporate
just end
funds
up like
for personal
Emmett.
expenses like basketball tickets, booze, and paying a consulting firm to see if a political comeback was possible for Benjamin Netanyahu, who at the time was on a brief break from politics. Also, yes, Charles knew Netanyahu. More on that in a sec. A lot of layers here. So Chuck's paranoia during this family civil suit led him to believe Murray and their sister were both secretly working with the then U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Chris Christie. Yes, he's also in this story. It's like the Star Wars prequels. They're all just
It keeps
hanging
getting
out
better.
together. I know you and you. You've seen them. Long story short,
Testy, you
Charles
always have me.
hired a sex worker to
MK,
seduce his sister's
but you
husband
better
and
watch
hired
out for
a
that
private
checkpoint.
investigator to videotape and take photos of the encounter, using the footage to attempt to blackmail his siblings. The scheme, which I assume he saw on Who Framed Roger
Hey, what's up,
Rabbit,
Changebox?
was
Long
stupid,
time.
backfired, and added a charge of witness tampering to Christie's case against Charles. So this is Jared's dad, a dumb crime.
He looks like
guy,
Roger
and our
Stone in
current
a lot of
ambassador
ways.
to France, even though it's not allowed to like talk to people in France or whatever. What least of our worries is what France thinks of us, okay? Their big landmark is scaffolding.
You have my word on it.
Cool scaffolding. Maybe build something with it. I don't know why I'm mad at France suddenly. The point is, this
Then I'm playing
obviously
WAP
screwed
directly
little Jared
afterward.
up, right? In fact, Chris Christie claims that Jared felt a lot of resentment, not toward his father, but toward the people who ratted on him. Charles Kushner, an 80s real estate nepo baby who loved to do stupid crime. Oh, and might I add, oh.
If that's not love, I don't know what is.
And then, of course, there's that Netanyahu fellow. As I mentioned, Charles Kushner spent a lot of money and time on Israeli politics. And so the Kushner family has been highly connected to Big Ben. How close, you ask? Well, Netanyahu once crashed in Jared's
You
childhood
hate Cody that
bedroom while he
much?
slept in the basement, which feels like some kind of metaphor, actually. They were tight, is my point. When the Israeli media found a list of wealthy Americans most likely to fund his primary election, Charles Kushner was near the top. Oh, and look, there's Trump there too. That's neat. And so Jared's educational curriculum and school events were often intertwined with the state of Israel, with some of his teachers telling him and his fellow students that Palestinian was a made-up identity created for political reasons.
I mean, mostly I watch Cody because I don't know if my stream's going to get clapped for watching John Oliver. And they do very similar work, whereas John Oliver is just better. Cody works. He gets most of the information in there. The other video had a lot of the information. Didn't mention Chris Christie, so like a few things were under the radar, but damn if you don't weave a yarn.
He was a fancy little rich boy with access to powerful people, being fed propaganda, and gaining an early resentment of anyone holding his family accountable for crimes. What a combination of things. He would go on to be an average student before getting accepted into Harvard, a college
Yeah, I'm more for
to
the
which his father
content. Like, I don't think he's
coincidentally
particularly funny.
donated $2.5 million. Man, I don't like rich people. So this is all setting up Jared's final form. A very obvious origin story that whittled him down into a very fine point. Like, obviously, physically, he's a pencil-neck pinhead, but I mean mostly metaphorically, because Jared clearly had a goal in mind pretty early on. Shortly after his dad went behind bars,
I have not
he
heard
took
of
over
Quan
the family
Mills.
real estate empire and sold almost all of its suburban holdings, focusing his attention on Manhattan.
But I know he probably
He
wouldn't get
also
hired
bought
if
the
his
New
name was
York
on
Observer, a tabloid known for
application.
stirring the world of real estate and finance. Think of it like a combination of Forbes and the Weekly World News for elites. And this was obviously a strategic purchase. Jared used the Observer as a shield for his allies
Probably
and a sword
Changebox.
against his critics.
'Cause it's all
After
a
seeing his
bit.
dad being called out for crimes in the newspapers, he realized that a very simple solution to that was to just buy his own. That's what rich people do, after all. Jared learned the complete wrong lesson from his father's misdeeds. He saw a criminal do a crime and was like, well, the obvious problem is all the people noticing the crime. So Kushner was playing a small-scale version of Charles Foster Kane, Rupert Murdoch, Robert Duvall as Joseph Pulitzer, using the Observer to boost his status and promote Manhattan real estate
I'm not getting
deals
that image
while
out of my
collecting rent
head.
money from tens of thousands of low-cost apartments along the East Coast and the Midwest. He was a slumlord, a shitty real estate villain who used his own personal newspaper to hype himself up. It's only
Sounds like Trump.
natural that he ended up at the same parties as the Trump family.
That's exactly what I thought
reportedly,
you were
Trump
saying.
didn't actually like Kushner at first, probably because he's the human equivalent of a hearse. But nevertheless, Jared and Ivanka got hitched. Perhaps to win his father-in-law's favor, a few years later, Jared ran a hit piece in the New York Observer on New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, who was pursuing a case against the fake college Trump University at the time. Of course, he wanted to help his new crime dad.
Dude, how can one family have so many scams and crimes under their belt and still make it to the White House? I don't understand. No, I understand. We lack object permanence as a society. That just is what it is.
daddy, that's where the origin story leads. Jared Kushner bounced from one crime father to another. I have no data to back this up, but that's probably part of the reason why he married Ivanka. They also share a lot of the same fetishes. Which fetishes? Who can say? But dark fetishes for sure. So, like, you can't say they aren't happy. It's like Wilson Fisk and Vanessa. I want what they have.
Damn it.
Let's go
Take
to
my
an ad
money,
break,
Mida.
and when we come back, we will talk about Kushner's role in the Trump administration. Was it good? Did
Not
we
just
like it?
Urban Hood,
Only
Urban
one way
Ratchet
to know how
Hood.
you felt about that, which is keep watching.
Does anybody even say Ratchet anymore?
Father's Day is right around the just happened, and the last thing your dad needs is another gag gift. An inflatable belt, a tie that plays slow jazz, a 15-year-old frozen Baconator. Time to get him something for next Father's Day, or just for funsies that he'll really appreciate, like a Tushy bidet. It's a cinch to install and gets me way cleaner than toilet paper, with added comfort to boot. It's the perfect gift for the TP overuser in your life. Way better than a toaster with Mickey Rourke's
if
face
Prime
on
was
it,
here, he would
or
say
a
they're all
live
war
rooster.
criminals, so
And
I
Tushy
can't disagree with
e-bidets
you.
come with a heated seat, adjustable water temperature, and a powerful yet gentle dryer. Hands-free, baby! Your pops is gonna love that on Guy Fawkes Day or whatever's next. And don't worry, every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and 12-month warranty. So if your dad is a real freak for the paper, just loves this stuff, wants to carry it around with him in one of the 15 Ace Hardware bags you gave him for Father's Day,
Usually I skip
hello, as the redcoats say, we beat him. Happy almost 4th, folks. 4th.
I will be right back,
Fi-
but I will still
May
be
the
listening
4th
and reading.
Be the date in July that I'm referring to. Jared Kushner. He's our guy, the Babadook's conservative cousin, a haunting little unadorned coat rack of a man, married to the boss's daughter, doing wild stuff together. Blood play, milking table, garbage disposals, who can say? During Trump's first term, America was forced to learn that he existed. Jared initially jumped into his father-in-law's campaign as a top advisor. After all, with Jared acquiring his own tabloid, he had experience spinning narratives. Although even his own newspaper had trouble spinning how blatantly racist his father-in-law was while campaigning, because sometimes you just can't polish a turd no matter how much you spit on it. Oh my gosh, maybe that's the fetish. Maybe they like get together and spit on turds and polish them. Anyway, adorably, at the time, people were concerned about how blatantly corrupt it is to stick your inexperienced son-in-law into an official government position. Remember when things mattered? Remember when people were like questioning things? And at the time, there was a lot of concern over this white bread wraith, this rizless loafer of a man, somehow being propped up and even used as a mouthpiece for Trump's administration. Why was this human brick of rice tasked with being the liaison to multiple countries? What could this arid wad possibly know about the opioid crisis or creating peace in the Middle East? But of course, the Kush would stick it out. Much like purchasing the New York Observer, Jared clearly saw this as an opportunity to attack his enemies and protect his allies. In fact, one of Kushner's first missions was to get rid of then Trump advisor Chris Christie. You know, the guy who threw Jared's dad in prison.
The day that Trump was naming me, he went into Trump's office and said, "You can't do this," and made the argument against me in front of me.
In front of you?
Oh, yeah.
And what was the argument?
I'm immoral. I'm a bad person.
And you're sitting there.
Oh, yeah. And said that, you know, it should have never been prosecuted. It wasn't a crime. It was something that should have been handled by the rabbis.
Oh,
because it was a family dispute. And I just sat there and didn't say anything. And finally, Trump looked at me and said, "Are you going to say anything to defend yourself?" I said, "No." I said, "I want to defend myself to him."
Yeah.
Doing my job. And by the way, I looked at him and said, "By the way, your father pled guilty to all 18 counts."
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Look, there's some credit to Trump in this that he said, "All right, fine, you know, get out of here, Jared."
Anyway.
Yeah.
He named me anyway, but then of course he fired me.
Yeah.
Because Jared just continued to pound me.
But that was Jared, you think, that
I
precipitated that firing?
Oh, I know it was Jared.
Okay.
Because both Donald Trump and Steve Bannon told me it was Jared.
Yep, it was Jared who did the, do I have to say it? Pounded Chris Christie while Trump watched and was like, are you going to take this pounding? That's the fetish. It's got to be, right? Anywho, sad story, Chris. Maybe you shouldn't have supported an obvious criminal in the first place. Anyway, this was the deal Kushner seemed to have with Trump. The little fellow would get to use his position to benefit his personal business, and in exchange, Jared would serve Trump as a, I want to say goon? Not sure how else to describe it. He gooned for Trump. For example, Jared attempted to set up back-channel communications between then soon-to
Chris Christie's choice of words was, I don't know if it was intentionally or unintentionally hilarious, but the fact that he knew the family he was working with. Granted, I don't think Chris Christie has a spine because he already got insulted and ruined during the election to begin with, and then went on to lick boot for them afterwards. So the fact that he got pounded was completely deserved.
To be National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the Kremlin, like a goon would. He even suggested using Russian communication systems in the Russian embassy to avoid monitoring from US intelligence agencies. You know how when you're doing really above the board stuff, you want to make sure no one's watching, except it's okay if Russia's watching? I have to repeat this. Jared Kushner, while working for the president, wanted to use Russia's communication systems to set up deals, presumably because he didn't want it on the books. That's like if a cop was like, well, no need to write a ticket. You can just pay me in cash. It's obviously corrupt in a way that used to get someone in trouble. And he's done this more than once. Remember the Trump Tower meeting back in 2016 when he and a bunch of other goons met with a Russian operative to get dirt on Trump's political opponent? Gosh, gee golly gosh, Trump sure seems to be close with Russia, huh? So yeah. In exchange for being one of Trump's potential fall guys, his buffer for illegal activities, Jared was given a huge amount of power over the United States government while also side hustling for his Kushner companies. That's the deal. You shovel his shit and he'll let you into the vault to take whatever you need. And while this started as normal ghoul stuff between Jared and corporations inside the United States, it got especially sinister when the Kush was put in charge of the Middle East for some reason. In 2017, Kushner advised Trump to fully...
Well, the reason why I was supposed to have a debate with Rob Noor tomorrow, I was trying to figure out which topic I wanted to debate Rob Noor on because it's a no prep debate, so I get to choose what the prompt is or what the debate topic is, and he just has to deal with it. So I was going between the Trump family enriching themselves off the office or the Iran situation. So I'd already had this queued up, and I do tend to watch some more news, and it's good to get a little bit more information. So here's where I end up. So I just call it prep work.
Back a Saudi blockade against Qatar, alleging that Qatar was financially supporting terrorist networks. It should be noted that at this time, multiple officials were confused and frustrated that this fancy boy was being given such a...
Well, yes, we are definitely the reinstantiation of a revolution, trying to get away from what was originally a monarchy, moving toward another monarchy of horrible Trumpness. But all the same, ignoring it and acting like, you know, it's just going to fix itself or burn itself to the ground and rise like a phoenix can't be expected. So we have to kind of deal with it as it is. I mean, you can consider it tribal warfare. I'm just trying to get better information out to people that literally aren't hearing the information. So if I give the accurate information as the other individual has a skewed point of view, maybe some people in that listening audience will get past some cognitive dissonance and look into it themselves to see if I was correct or if I wasn't. But, you know, hope is for the weak.
A lofty position. And for good reason, because it just so happened that all the way back in just a few weeks before the blockade, Charles Kushner had met with the Qatari finance minister asking for money to bail
How many
out his
books are
failing
there?
New York property, and the Qatari official declined to help. And then a few weeks later, Jared Kushner suggested to the president that they support a blockade of that country. Sounds kind of like a punishment. Seems like the pressure worked because in the following year, the Kushners would get their funding through a company that happened to be co-owned by the Qatari government. Double
Well, I can't see where a conversation with Rob will be anything other than tribal warfare, because at the end of the day, there's certain ways that I guess our brains work, and what interests them or what incenses them or drives them to vote a certain way is not what incenses me to vote a certain way. And so I think it'll always end up being a tribal warfare. I can't think of a higher level conversation that could be had without one individual trying to win the conversation, which just tends to be the case. So, I mean, that's all you can do. It's got to be AI. Nearly 100 books. I mean, it could very well be AI.
Also, as an aside,
Try it
that
with
property
AI
was at
yourself and see what
666
prompts you give
Fifth
it to
Avenue
get those
in New York,
results.
which is like bad writing, reality. It's too on the nose. Maybe tweak that in the second draft, you know? Please let there be a
But
second
I'd rather
draft.
find
I
common
have
ground, Change
a
Box.
lot of
That's
notes.
always been the way
So
I
in
roll,
short,
is I'd rather
Kushner
find
made it pretty
common ground.
known that he took bribes. International bribes. He was a man in one of the high...
Well, like, here's part of the problem. If you can't admit that the Iran war was unnecessary and is costing Americans and making Americans' lives worse, it's very difficult to find common ground. If you can't acknowledge that the person currently in the presidency, as well as his family, is grifting the entire country and multiple other countries to enrich themselves, it's very difficult to have a start. So these should be easy admissions that anybody can make. But the fact that we're willing to ignore that, because I would easily admit it if it was Biden doing exactly what Trump is doing, or even in the case of like Hunter Biden, like I can say they're literally enriching themselves. Why can't you admit that? These are like easy admissions, but instead we're going to fight about it for an hour or more.
highest positions of power in the United States.
Oh, the last debate, or like, no, I think it was the last debate I had over there was about whether or not Renee Good should have been shot while driving from dropping their kid off in their own neighborhood. Like, the fact that I have to do that is insane, in my opinion. This shouldn't be a conversation. Like, U.S. citizens shouldn't be getting murked just doing basic things or being out in the street. Like, I don't see how this works. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty attached to my morals, and I will admit when something is wrong. Like, to be able to admit wrongness should be the start of the conversation.
Who was given security clearance, which he got by omitting his foreign connections, and he clearly took bribes. And other countries noticed that. Like Israel. He has a few ties to Israel, besides that obvious one where Bibi crashed in his race car bed.
It's unfortunate.
Kushner companies got $30 million from an Israeli
shouldn't
firm
even be
right
debatable.
before Trump was visiting the country. He also took out loans from Israel's largest bank, which was a subject in a U.S. criminal investigation at the time. There's also, of course, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who I guess is pals with Kushner. It's probably fine. This led to Kushner having a hand in Trump's investment in arms deals with the Saudis, which was part of this ploy
And
for
here
Saudi
comes that
Arabia
money.
to pour their money into U.S. companies and infrastructure, as the U.S. would in turn provide arms deals and pledge to help them in diplomacy in the Middle East. Which I guess that's technically in the interest of the United States, like, if you squint, but also something kind of happened involving the Saudi government around that time.
I can say your
The
results
United
will be a lot
Nations
better.
has just issued its report on the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. The Saudi journalist was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October last year. The CIA and some Western countries believe Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, ordered the killing.
The same admin that they don't want to admit that they shouldn't have voted for and will proudly say they did vote for, and is nowhere near being a fascist dictator.
Right. They killed a guy brutally. And allegedly, do we have to say allegedly? Whatever we have to say is fine. Please just don't kill me too. Like, you absolutely killed Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. And Kushner was so tight with the Saudi throne that he had a private conversation with the crown prince just days before the Saudis acknowledged this murder. At the time, Jay Kush was trying to paint Mohammed bin Salman as a reformer that would ultimately bring modernity and peace to the entire Middle East region.
Exactly,
while also
Rabbit.
promoting the crown prince's cover story that Khashoggi was a member of the Muslim Brotherhood that senior Trump officials would be happy to see gone. Because they were buds. Buds cover for other buds' murders, especially when one of the buds gives the other bud a crap load of money. So this was how Jared Kushner created peace in the Middle East, mainly through a series of bribes that favored one group while throwing another group under the bus. For example, supporting Morocco's claim over the Western Sahara, which went against the long-standing position of the UN. We just sort of dropped international policy, like removing Sudan's state sponsor of terrorism designation, almost exclusively in exchange for these countries having a better relationship with Israel. It's pretty ironic for the United States to call anyone a terrorist, but anyway, the point is they were bribes, and bribes that sort of don't solve anything in the long run. And while we were doing this, Jared Kushner quietly filled his pockets by making business deals with these same countries with which he was doing diplomacy, because that was his true goal. To network. He was a networker. Dude isn't much to look at. He has the personality of a horse skeleton, and in fact, it's been reported that his investment firm didn't even present themselves professionally. Their pitch deck was, apparently, just 20 black and white slides filled with hollow buzzwords. Because it didn't matter, right? What mattered was the obvious connections he had, gained through this flaunted conflict of interest. He used his position to form business relationships in the Middle East, and if those relationships happened to create some diplomacy along the way, neat. And it paid off for Kush. A few months after Trump's first term, Jared's pal, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, invested $2 billion into Kushner's Affinity Partners asset management company. And while everyone questioned all these shady dealings at first, over time, we sort of got used to Jared just being there.
These phone calls, I will be right back.
And we had other things going on. After all, COVID, right? Whew. That was a whole thing. And then Trump left the office, messily, sure, but I guess it's over now, right? It's 2021, Trump is gone, that movie Infinite is coming out, America was on top of the world again. Water under the bridge, a hatchet buried. Yes, that's what they say. Oh, but oops, we reelected the criminal for some reason. Why did we do that again? Were we drinking a lot or something? I can't recall. Someone tell me why we did that again. No one's gonna, okay. Well, we did, and the Kush was loose once more, except he learned a very important lesson from that first Trump term. People find him unsettling. Jared has all the charisma of a haunted totem, and so he has now stayed out of the spotlight. Not to mention that he perhaps realized that everyone in Trump's direct orbit doesn't really have a successful career. His supporters wanted to hang his number two. It's almost a sign of Trump's affection for Jared that he is allowed to quietly hang back for the sequel. Not to mention that he was now rich and connected enough to not really need Trump's help. Specifically, he's rich thanks to other countries. That's sort of the main goal of Kushner's during the second term, being an economic investment corridor and go-between for Israel and the Gulf states. Kushner acts like a straw for Israel to suck money from countries like Saudi Arabia to themselves. But while Kushner sucks that money, he also leeches transaction fees, and since 2021 has suck-earned over $100 million from this grift. Like, I guess that's fine if you're a money ghoul, except, very important, he's also still working for the United States government. Or rather, he's still volunteering for the US government as peace envoy for the Middle East. Hey, how's that going? Is it going good over there?
And let me say this, because I forgot this small little detail. In that first meeting, both the Iranian negotiators said to us directly, with no shame, that they controlled 460 kilograms of 60%, and they're aware that that could make 11 nuclear bombs, and that was the beginning of their negotiating stance. So they were proud of it. They were proud that they had evaded all sorts of oversight protocols to get to a place where they could deliver 11 nuclear bombs.
That there is Steve Witkoff, a real estate mogul, and I guess also a special envoy to the Middle East. Despite having zero background in diplomacy, just like Jared has zero background in diplomacy. Unless you count the Ukraine peace plan, which you shouldn't, because it didn't work. Perhaps because, and this is real life, Jared and Steve reportedly just copied most of their 28-point peace plan off a document from the Kremlin, which I'm guessing Ukraine wasn't too keen on. They just copied their pals' homework. Two inept money sacks groping their way through international diplomacy. Although Witkoff does have business ties in the Middle East. Interesting. Anyway, he and Kush super failed to negotiate the nuclear deal, as you might have figured out already. With your eyes, if you read. That clip was of Witkoff a few days after this new war started, trying to claim that Iran super totally had nukes and rubbed it in their faces. Except, that doesn't seem like the case after all. It does not appear like Iran was ready to start World War III, and in fact, they were willing to make concessions that even Obama didn't get. This is according to Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi, one of the mediators in these talks, who right after negotiations rushed to Washington in order to essentially tell on Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. This guy, along with other experts who were present, have claimed that Iran was not an imminent threat and a peace deal was very possible, and that Witkoff and Kushner had no idea what they were doing and seemed to misunderstand the basic proposals Iran was making. They basically got confused and were like, you guys aren't serious about...
This is exactly where I'm at with it. Like, I think Iran is seeing like their country is not able to make money. They're not able to be competitive on the world stage. They're trying to comply with the West to make sure that their country can actually do better monetarily. They don't want to screw up the deal. And then all of a sudden, we're bombing the heck out of them. So, like, I consider the victory that Iran got against Trump to be somewhat well-deserved. But here we are.
Peace and left. Because that's what happens when you send two dudes with zero experience to negotiate a fucking international nuclear deal. Or perhaps they didn't want these negotiations to work. Perhaps these two businessmen with ties to the Middle East, including Israel, were more than happy to let this fall apart and sell Trump on a war.
It seems like the
Even
case.
though that would tank Trump's administration and, you know, start a war. Like, Trump would have loved to stick it in the Democrats' faces that he did the peace even better than Obama, right?
I mean, it is what it is,
I'm
Razor.
speculating here, but Trump is like not looking great. He's got a lot of King Theoden thrall energy, you know? And then there's Jared whispering in his ear, while the serious people around him are sort of nervously looking at their feet. And what's especially concerning is that Jared's interest in the Middle East really doesn't seem like it's in the interest of helping Trump. Like, obviously,
It's
it isn't
definitely
in the
not in the interest
interest
of
the United States,
America.
but you'd think
he
he'd
said it.
at
Cool.
least be trying to do favors for his father-in-law. And that brings up a very interesting question about what Jared Kushner has become. A question we will ask after the second ad break. Yummy, yummy, ooh, gooey ads. Rub them on you.
These days, anytime something costs, the answer is yes.
Craftsmanship or something. It's
long
the person. Oh, wow. Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
take it easy, Razor.
Aloha.
Let me know when
Welcome
you get
back.
caught up. We'll talk
We
about
were
it.
talking about Jared, special peace envoy, going around the world representing America like a spokesperson, like Jared from Subway, except less likable. Be the B, which is how I say before the break, we mentioned that Jared and rich guy Steve Witkoff seemed to tank the peace talks with Iran, either through sheer stupidity or maybe a second thing, and how that not only undermined the United States, but also Trump specifically. I mentioned how, over time, we sort of just stopped talking about Kushner and the obvious conflicts of interest that come up when someone representing the United States in the Middle East also has a bunch of business ties there. And it actually brings up an interesting question about what Jared Kushner is. A human,
ghoul.
I guess. Maybe, we'll put a pin in that. But what do you call someone who works for the United States government but seems to secretly serve a different country? Well, in the opinion of one of the diplomats who was present during these negotiations, quote, "We regarded Witkoff and Kushner as Israeli assets that dragged a president into a war he wants to get out of." Interesting point. One might even call it a good and accurate point. After all, both Netanyahu and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia wanted the United States to go to war with Iran. And it just so happens that Kushner and Witkoff are pretty tight with those places. And by tight, I mean that literally as the Israel-Hamas negotiations were happening, Israel approved a deal where Affinity Partners, Kushner's investment firm, purchased 10% of a financing company called Phoenix Financial Limited, a company directly involved in the Israeli expansion into the Palestinian territory. Affinity was now the largest shareholder of that company, which means that Jared Kushner was very obviously financially incentivized to tank these peace talks.
Why does this feel like treason?
Even if it meant hurting the United States and Trump. So, am I saying that he's purposefully undermining the United States for some secret ideological belief? No. Unless you count getting rich as an ideology.
True.
It's kind of a lofty accusation to say that Jared Kushner is a foreign asset, so I should make it clear that he probably doesn't think of himself as betraying America, but rather this is exactly why everyone was so concerned about these conflicts of interest in the first place. It doesn't matter if the person swears they won't get corrupted, it'll just naturally happen, especially to people who are, corrupt. It actually brings me all the way back to 2016, when people were saying that Trump, a very volatile and emotional man, would of course start a war if he was president. And that concern was framed around his temper and or
what is that new religion?
Like he'd get in a fight with the president of France and nuke him at 3 a.m. And yeah, he started a war and did a lot of other stuff. He does tweet at 3 a.m. a lot, but something has always pinged me about this concern.
I don't
Their
know,
defense
myopic.
was always
Getting
that
rich, yeah, it's a great
because
religion.
They have business ties.
Many
they would
people
be better
worship at that
suited
altar.
for negotiating peace. Here's Kushner recently saying just
I don't want to
that.
be rich. I just don't want to
What
be
people
broke.
call conflicts of interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships that we have throughout the world.
Thing is, he's kind of right, but that's not a good thing. Because Trump, like Kushner, had so many business ties to other countries, the larger concern isn't that he'd start a conflict, but avoid one. Everyone wants peace,
I don't know if he's
right?
going to get into
Except
Tulsi. I
cats.
haven't watched this
But
one.
what we need to realize is that not everyone has the same definition of that word. For example, for Jared Kushner and Trump, peace can be easily achieved by simply looking the other way. If, for example, a certain country is doing a genocide, actual peace would only be achieved by stopping that from happening. It's not peace if you, say, simply bribed everyone to ignore that genocide, because the people doing the genocide are your business partners and childhood pal. Netanyahu slept in Kushner's bed. Doesn't seem like you should be in charge of brokering a ceasefire with Israel and Hamas when one of those two sides slept in your childhood bed. Doesn't seem like he cares about the interest and well-being of the people in Gaza when Kushner is also having wet dreams about redeveloping that area and making a ton of money, with the clear intention of pushing out the Palestinian people in the process. This is how Kushner thinks of peace. He wants to tie Trump and himself financially to other countries and call that a truce, because in theory, that gives these countries the incentive to make the United States happy, so long as Trump is in power. And Jared gets rich too. It's a fun little bonus for him. But then we also have to make that country happy, right? For example, earlier this year, Pakistan's finance ministry signed a deal with Trump and Witkoff's World Liberty Financial Crypto.
Oh, speaking of, I just saw the video for the Skitari. Seems interesting. Doesn't seem as much fun as a Psyker, but, it's basically a Terminator, and I'm about that.
Company. Oh, and Witkoff made a real estate deal on behalf of the U.S. with Pakistan to develop a Manhattan high-rise, not unlike Kushner's Fifth Avenue fix with Qatar.
Is it worth my money?
Does that really strengthen our relationship with Pakistan? Or does it simply strengthen Trump's relationship with them? What if we have to get into a major conflict with that country? It's not actually Jared Kushner's problem. He is, after all, just like a volunteer, remember? We don't actually pay him. And in fact, and this is true, as of 2024, 99% of the investment money Jared Kushner gets rich from comes from other countries,
that's not worth the time.
specifically Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Israel. He simply doesn't work for us. So it is hard not to conclude that Jared Kushner is a foreign asset who won't think twice about betraying the United States if he thinks it'll help him, even if he doesn't mean to be that. And I don't know, man. It's like, it's not good.
It's bad.
We gotta get him out of there, right? Maybe get people to look into the things he's done. Like, you know what? Okay, so hear me out. So what if we look at what the rules are and we hire people to see if Jared Kushner was breaking those rules. And then we do some kind of procedure where we have people say the rules that he broke and we can let him explain himself at the procedure too. And then if he did break those rules, we create some kind of consequence, like a timeout or something.
Yep, I'll just stick to my secret.
Yeah, write that all down. I might be onto something unless we end up weaponizing that system against minorities and drug offenders. I'm just kind of worried that after the dust clears, Jared Kushner will just exist, consequence-free. He'll probably go hide on that island he's trying to buy, like a real Epstein, you know? He's easy to forget about, and that's by design.
Right there.
He grew up with this 80s crime dad and watched him get caught, and then he glommed onto this other 80s crime dad. And Kushner is kind of doing the same playbook as Trump, with one important distinction. See, you have to wonder what kind of idiot would become the president to do scams when that position is so visible. Like, what a bad plan. Someone like that must be playing some kind of 4D chess. Otherwise, he'd be really, 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 really stupid. Even if he gets away with all of it somehow, it's really stupid. I don't know if Trump will ever face consequences beyond being historically regarded as a fart president, but I do know that he's a very, very convenient distraction if you're some other guy in his orbit who wants to quietly plunder the government. Like how I always get Katie drunk and bring her to Best Buy when I want to steal Blu-rays. Trump is the ultimate diversion for a heist. And it's extremely ironic that Jared Kushner is kind of doing the exact thing Trump wants to do, but can't quite. I mean, who knows? Maybe that is the 4D chess. Maybe he and Trump will strut into the same car and drive off.
I don't think so, Toby.
Also, Trump's idiot biological
don't
sons
think
are
so.
obviously doing scams, and Trump has his crypto and other scams, and we've done many episodes about all the scams and deals Trump is benefiting from. Also, I don't care ultimately.
I mean, what the host of this show is basically saying is that Trump is a diversion for Jared Kushner and a few other people to quietly loot the country. I think Trump is also looting the country. So, like, all in all, it seems like everything is going according to plan with a lot of horrible missteps.
Dude sucks is the point. He should be arrested, although if you cuff him, he might just turn into pink mist and float away, like one of Magneto's weirder henchmen. You know, the ones that don't quite have cool powers beyond just being a little, like, gross? Like the hug monster from X3. Be careful, don't hug him! Or like Toad. What was Toad's deal?
I don't even know if Russia would take him at
this point. It's like the
point.
exact powers of a toad? Wolverine isn't literally a Wolverine. Why is Toad a toad? Down to the green skin. Is that a coincidence? Is the green skin a coincidence? All right, get out of here. It's fine. We're not going to solve Toad in this episode. Though now I want to watch that movie. Wonder if Katie wants to go to Best Buy.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. So back to the video that Kay sent me. It'll get back to some more Trump nonsense.
Borrowing most of it from the same Israeli investment
and
firm
then I'll look for
that
a palate
financed illegal
cleanser.
Israeli settlements in the West Bank in 2008. Ultimately,
'Cause I know
after
we need
8
it.
years of leading his father's company, Jared Kushner had purchased about $1.8 billion of real estate all over New York City, in a time when New York City real estate was rapidly increasing in value. But Kushner's rise in real estate would soon be cast aside for the not just unrelated, but also seemingly out-of-character move of getting into
Couldn't help
conservative
yourself, could you,
politics.
Ike?
Before 2016, Jared Kushner had been a lifelong Democrat, with his newspaper having endorsed Obama in 2008, and he personally had donated to many Democrat politicians throughout his adult life. But the story goes that when Donald Trump began his presidential campaign as a Republican, Jared Kushner quickly shifted his focus away from real estate entirely and pivoted into making sure his father-in-law would get elected. After handing control of the family business to his brother, he personally led Trump's $100 million social media campaign and was considered by many to be Trump's de facto campaign manager, reportedly also choosing Trump's Vice President Mike Pence by hand.
You know, Jared had a very easy life. He was doing phenomenally.
Do
in
explain
New
the psychological
York.
impact.
Everything he touched is turned to gold. And then one day he said, I want to come down and I want to have peace in the Middle East, and I want to do criminal justice reform, and I want to do all these wonderful things.
After Trump unexpectedly won the 2016 election, Kushner would spend the first Trump term working in an official capacity as senior advisor to the president. Even back then, he was often accused of conflicts of interest. The Washington Post would later report that there was evidence of officials in at least 4 countries making plans on how to manipulate Jared Kushner by taking advantage of his business
I
arrangements,
just
financial
cannot get
problems,
behind
and
the
lack of foreign
idea
policy
that
experience. But his
if
biggest
Trump
project
ran off
during
to
this
Russia,
time
they
was
wouldn't
helping
sell him
negotiate a
right
deal
out
that I
if
can
they
only
could get a
describe as
reasonable
one of the
deal
most
for
evil
it.
and greedy negotiations
'Cause he's
in
not
recent
useful
history of
anymore.
international politics. So prior to 2020, the conflict between Israel and Palestine had resulted in broad diplomatic isolation between Israel and their neighbors, particularly with Gulf states like the UAE, who had an official boycott law banning commercial and financial contact with Israel until the Palestinian conflict was resolved. It wasn't until the Abraham Accords, a set of treaties mediated by the US, that Israel, Bahrain, the UAE, and Morocco would finally formally recognize each other and trade together, even though there had been no resolution included for the benefit of Palestine. This deal is widely understood to have been masterminded and negotiated by Jared Kushner himself.
Bruh.
I want to start today by congratulating the people of Israel. I also want to congratulate President Trump on this milestone. He worked very hard on this with his team. We worked with Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, who really are 2 visionary leaders.
Then, just a few months after leaving the White House, Kushner does something that makes the conflict of interest impossible to ignore. He founds a private
I know, it's
investment
news to
firm
me
around
too,
the
Aaron.
same
Calm.
exact
I don't know
diplomatic
how to
corridor
take this
he
news.
just
I'm
created.
still processing
As a
it.
White House official, he helps normalize relations between Israel and
Like, if you told me a year or so ago that a presidency would be enriching themselves in office at the expense of Americans and causing Americans' lives to be more difficult and expensive, I don't know that I'd believe you. But, you know, we're here and I just have to face reality, you know, as it stands in front of me.
Gulf states. Then, as a private businessman, he starts a fund taking $5.4 billion in funding from different Arab sovereign wealth funds and investing it in Israeli companies, including businesses like Phoenix Holdings, a company tied through its holdings to firms involved in Israeli settlements in the West Bank. In other words, Jared Kushner didn't leave government and go back to real estate. He took the foreign policy relationships he built in the White House and turned them into a private business. With returning to his job as a diplomat for the Trump administration being an obvious conflict of interest, Kushner announced that he would not go back to work in the White House when his father-in-law was reelected. But what he has actually spent his time doing for the last 2 years tells a different story entirely.
President Trump's top envoy and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, sat down in Moscow for nearly 5 hours with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he spoke with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, for nearly an hour today.
Thank you, Steve. And I have to say, one of the great honors for me of being able to work on this has been working with Steve.
Despite not having any official role in the White House right now, Kushner has, in the last year and a half, been present for key moments like helping draft a Gaza ceasefire plan, Iranian nuclear talks in Pakistan, Ukraine peace talks in Paris, and a Kremlin meeting with Vladimir Putin himself. But what he does at these meetings
Moon,
is
are
the
you
real
serious?
story, because there are credible headlines coming out that make the claim that Jared Kushner
That
shows
is
up
far.
to meetings for international diplomacy, pitching new ways to make money. Jared Kushner has gone on record multiple times to advocate for real estate development projects in Gaza, including during a speech at Harvard where he described Gaza as valuable waterfront property and said that if he were in charge, he would move people out and clean it all up.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable. It's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there, but I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to
move the people out and then clean it up.
Most notably, the Wall Street Journal reported that Kushner and White House aides presented a 32-page proposal called Project Sunrise to rebuild Gaza as a futuristic travel destination.
It's like 14
that would
miles.
cost $112 billion and include luxury apartment buildings, tech-driven governance, high-tech public transit, and support for a seaside tourism industry once Palestinians could be permanently relocated.
And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential, and this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones.
And that is not the only time Kushner has been accused of a huge conflict of interest. The New York Times described Kushner as a businessman first and a diplomat second when his drafted proposal for a Russian-Ukrainian peace settlement included a provision for the United States to receive 50% of profits from a venture to rebuild Ukraine's infrastructure after the war. And this is a subject that's strangely underreported in mainstream media right now, but in essence, Jared Kushner has basically created a pipeline of diplomacy and money that seems to serve mainly as a way to further Israel's national interests by way of wielding American political power. His diplomacy project of the Abraham Accords, while it normalized the further suffering of millions of Palestinians, also opened a corridor for him to make untold amounts of money investing in Israeli companies with Arab money that he can only even have access to because of the position he attained from his father-in-law being the president in the first place.
I've known the president and I've known his family and his team for a long time.
You ain't lying,
Jared, how long we've known you? Well, he was never small. He was always big.
How is this so uncomfortably weird and awkward? Take it easy, myopic.
He was always tall.
I'm not saying Jared Kushner is literally a spy, because he doesn't need to be. He's a longtime family friend of Benjamin Netanyahu at the same time as he's married to Donald Trump's daughter. And when you look at his business, political, financial track record, it's hard to describe him as anything but an agent for foreign interest. And at the same time as that's the case, he's allowed to negotiate peace on behalf of the US. All of that is to say, Jared Kushner is making a lot of money off of the Trump family's political connections. Affinity Partners has $5.4 billion of assets under management, an amount that, if you put it in a high-yield savings account, the things that us poor people use to store our meager pittances in, you'd make around $250 million per year from that $5.4 billion. But Kushner isn't storing it in a high-yield savings account. It is a totally private firm over which he is the sole founder and owner, and thus its revenue or returns or what have you are a black hole into which we have absolutely no visibility. But it only exists because of his father-in-law being president of the United States and giving him these connections in the first place. We're talking here about a version of money that doesn't even really exist for real people. Private equity, sovereign wealth funds, real estate developments. For most of us, money is paychecks, emergency funds, budgeting for food or rent. Elites control vast sums of wealth and direct it wherever they want to gain influence. For regular people like us, money is just about earning enough to live. So that's why I'm actually happy to talk to you guys about my sponsor, Chime. Because Chime has a lot of serious benefits that actually help people like us who have to worry about optimizing and saving the money we earn at work. For one, Chime offers 3.75% APY on their high-yield savings account. That's enough to make sure that the money you're trying to save for something in the future isn't being eaten away by rising inflation. Of course, that's not all they do either. Along and offer all these benefits I never knew I could have access to.
Okay.
Wish I had known about this stuff earlier. Anyway, let's get back to making billions of dollars off foreign interests while you work for the American government.
Wait,
because the craziest part is, Jared Kushner isn't the only person running this exact playbook right now.
I like being able to sleep at night.
One late night in the winter of 1986, Donald Trump walks into a deli to buy a snack, only to realize that he doesn't have any cash on him. But as luck would have it, a young lawyer working for a firm that was at that moment representing Trump during a government audit happened to walk in and give him the money for a ham and cheese sandwich. His new friend, Steve Witkoff, was enamored by Trump's glamorous real estate playboy lifestyle and began following in his
footsteps.
These
two videos back to back pretty much fill in all the gaps of the
began
BS.
investing in New York real estate during the massive
And
1980s real
Holyfield?
estate crash. And while he
Holyfield
never quite
was in
became
on
a
it?
real estate mogul turned pop culture icon, he made billions of dollars buying property in New York anyway. By the 1990s, Witkoff owned 11 million square feet of commercial property and 7,000 apartments from Manhattan to the Bronx and more. He even notably established a presence in South Florida alongside Trump when he opened Mar-a-Lago there in the 1990s. Even the structure of Steve Witkoff's company is modeled after the Trump organization, with his two sons leading the Witkoff group alongside him, and Alex, the younger son, recently named his son Donald J.
So I'm told, Testy, but for some reason, it doesn't seem to be the case. So might as well just do it.
James Witkoff, presumably in tribute to their close family friend, Donald John Trump. And so when Trump won the presidency back in 2024, he offers his good
What is a
friend Steve
rule or a law
Witkoff
if no
a
one's
job in
gonna
the White
enforce
House
it?
as the special envoy to the Middle East.
I say as I
Steve
laugh at the
Witkoff
knot.
has absolutely no experience doing international diplomacy, like literally none. But that isn't even the problem here. The problem is that just a couple of months before Witkoff took this new job, a brand new crypto venture called World Liberty Financial had been founded by a team comprised of Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Barron Trump, and Steve Witkoff's two sons, Zach and Alex. And they would immediately start doing business with the same Middle Eastern governments that it was Witkoff's job to negotiate with over life and death and war and peace. And essentially, the general public does not know who bought what from World Liberty Financial. The whole point is that it's decentralized
It's
crypto
okay,
that
Testy.
can't easily be tracked.
It's
We only know the
okay.
identities of a small handful of people who invested in the project, but those we are aware of still paint a very specific picture. For one, we know that after crypto billionaire Justin Sun invested around $75 million in the project, the SEC backed off of an investigation they were conducting into his companies. Another piece of the World Liberty Financial puzzle is Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, the biggest crypto exchange on Earth and the world's 17th richest person. Zhao, also known as CZ,
I mean, you're welcome to come on and talk about the debate. I hadn't really thought about it since it happened. I think it was a good debate. You did amazing. Just, Vigi was in an entirely different direction trying to talk about legislation rather than the prompt itself. But, it is what it is.
had been convicted of violating the Bank Secrecy Act after Binance was found to have knowingly not reported Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and child sexual abuse-related transactions. He served 4 months in prison in 2024, only for him to be given a complete and total pardon by President Trump in 2025, a few months after Binance listed USD1 as a token on their platform. Not long after that, a company backed by the government of the UAE announced that they would use $2 billion worth of USD1 to finance a large transaction, which generated the Trumps an estimated $80 million in fees, only for an agreement to be reached 2 weeks after that the UAE should get access to 500,000 of NVIDIA's most advanced GPUs for AI research, a deal that had previously been stuck in limbo for months. There's no indisputable proof that any of these deals fit the official definition for corruption, so I can't make that claim in this video, but I can tell you that when you look at World Liberty Financial for what it is, it looks a lot like a system built to make bribes look like normal transactions. And so in response to the many accusations they've received of corruption and bribery and so on, WLF has responded by saying that this company is run by Trump and Witkoff's sons, and that the fathers have absolutely nothing to do with operations at all, and that they are focused exclusively on deploying world-class products to benefit the American economy, and that there have never been any conflicts of interest at the firm at all. Ultimately, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Trump family's 75% share of net proceeds from World Liberty Financial tokens would be equivalent to around $1.2 billion so far, with the Witkoffs having made for themselves around $200 million.
I only
and so
have
this
a
brings the
little
total
bitty
amount
bit.
of money that the Trumps and their associates have made from business in office to just about $1.6 billion that I can trace, with untold more that I can't, with another $7.4 billion in assets created thanks to political connections and deals. But even then, World Liberty Financial is not the only crypto venture that the Trumps have made money from in the last 2 years. Eric Trump is also heavily involved in the crypto industry, reportedly holding a $90 million stake in a company called American Bitcoin that operates facilities for mining crypto in New York, Texas, and Alberta, Canada. The Trump crypto venture that received
in
by
Canada
far
too.
the most
Nobody's
attention in the
safe.
press, though, was not a dollar-backed reserve token or a physical mining operation or anything that sounds even vaguely legitimate, but a meme coin.
The Trump family's latest ventures, 2 new cryptocurrency meme coins, are a historic first for a sitting president. And they're arguably the most controversial investments ever made by a commander-in-chief.
I'm not an expert on crypto. I might hold some, I might be vaguely aware of how it works, but you know, my opinion has always been, if you're some libertarian wacko who stacks Ethereum in your hard drive and uses it to buy Chinese peptides, pretty harmless. But the rest of the stuff, it's just not for me.
That's actually a
and
brilliant
meme coins
idea.
are this thing that's like really not for me. It's this whole culture of crypto where there's no purpose for it at all. There's just these digital casinos where you buy in, see how high the token goes, and you either get out before it crashes to zero or you don't. It's a zero-sum game. You can't just make more supply whenever you want like you do with Bitcoin. So for every person who does make money off of a meme coin, there is a group of people or person who lost the same amount of value. At best, it's gambling. At worst, people are being convinced to throw their hard-earned money in the garbage. And in 100% of cases with meme coins, the only people who see any return at all are whoever got in earliest, while those who buy too close to the peak see their money
Massive
disappear
insider
in front
trading
of their eyes.
while we're
And
at
in
it.
January of 2025, the day before he was inaugurated as president again, Donald Trump launched a meme coin of his own. The plan was simple. They minted 1 billion coins, 800 million of which would be owned by the Trumps, and 200 million of which could be purchased by the general public. And within the first 24 hours, the price of each token reached $73, making it so that Donald Trump was briefly one of the richest men on earth, with his share of Trump coin being valued at an estimated $60 billion. But it would only be a couple of days before Trump coins fell in value from $70 per token to $50 to $30 and then to $10 and even lower. Today, Trump coin is worth about $1.50 per token. Reporting on how much money Trump made from Trump coin varies, but one article from Reuters claims that Trump's share of the proceeds is around $615 million, while some sources say it could even be more than that. Of course though, thanks to the nature of what a meme coin is, having made that much on tokens is only possible due to retail investors who themselves lost $674 million in the process. Trump coin was closely followed by Melania coin, which reportedly made an additional $70 million for the Trump family. But either way, our total revenue generated by the Trumps and their friends has now reached $2.3 billion, with an additional $7.5 billion in deals made and assets managed for a
this is
total of
something I would debate,
$9.8
for
billion
sure.
being made from the presidency, with the vast majority of that coming from just the last year and a half. That is a lot
Sounds
of money,
like I'd be on
more than any
solid
president or presidential family or political dynasty has ever made from politics before. But our list is still not yet complete. 1789 Capital is a venture capital firm that opened in 2022 with the mission of, quote, funding the next chapter of American exceptionalism. And 1789 has
What
made
does that
a pretty
even
big
mean?
particular portfolio for themselves, investing in companies like Substack, the blogging platform, Polymarket, Juul, the vape company, the Nelk Boys hard seltzer brand. They invested in the media company that Tucker Carlson started after
Point
leaving
already
Fox
did what it
News.
was supposed
The only
to do.
thing is that in
Apparently
2024,
Tucker
just
is
after
turned.
Trump won the presidential election, his son, Donald Trump Jr., announced that he would be joining 1789 as a partner for the firm. And the change that we see happening after that is a big one. Whereas before, it was a pretty standard firm that's bought into a lot of companies that are just kind of like vaguely based in conservative world. Like, yeah, of course, the kind of conservative based VC fund would invest in online prediction market gambling and vapes and Tucker Carlson and Nelk Boys alcohol. Like, why wouldn't they? But after Trump Jr. arrives, they very quickly and noticeably started expanding into investments in defense contractors and AI startups. Their biggest investments today are Vulcan Elements, a company that makes the rare earth magnets used in military drones, Hadrian, a manufacturing company that focuses on aerospace and defense components,
Lulu was on it.
and Anduril, the famous maker of surveillance towers, combat drones, and cruise missiles. They also invested in Firehawk Aerospace, a company that makes propulsion tech for cruise missiles. Plus, of course, they invested in Elon Musk's companies like XAI, SpaceX, as well as Perplexity, among other AI startups. But the reason I'm telling you all this isn't because I want to whine about the conservative VC firm investing in bad companies. That's not really a story, that's just business. I'm telling you this because ever since Donald Trump Jr. joined 1789 as a partner, ever since they started making this hard pivot into serious war-related hardware companies, the big thing that all of these new investments have in common is that these companies rely on the federal government to make their money. In total, companies backed by 1789 Capital since 2024 have now received around $21 billion in federal contracts, loans, awards, and contract
That is so
ceilings.
much money while
Essentially, the
people are
president's
literally
son is making
nickel and diming
untold
themselves
amounts of
every
money from
month
investing in
just to get
companies whose
groceries.
value is
I'm
directly
sure people are going into debt
correlated to
right
federal
now just to
contracts.
be able
I'm not
to
saying the government is only funding these companies so the Trumps make money. That clearly isn't the case. These are real companies that make real hardware. But the fact that there's any connection between the Trump family making money and the American defense tech industry sounds like a story that would have come out of a regime in Central Asia, not a country that's supposedly a liberal democracy. And this story of Donald Trump Jr. joining 1789 Capital, making investments in hardware and defense tech only for those companies to receive massive federal contracts right afterwards, it brings our total of Trump empire political business money made to a total of, I don't know. I cannot tell you how much money the Trump family has made off of doing business politically in the last couple of years. I do know that what we're looking at here is one very simple pattern repeated over and over and over. The Trumps and their friends are using their political connections to make as much money as they possibly can. Some of it we can track. We have a total of $2.3 billion made in the last couple of years from crypto, NFTs, sneakers, watches, but also way more than that exists in the form of completely unknowable proceeds generated from massive quantities of assets under management, which themselves were gained as the result of political favor. Somehow, even then though, we aren't done. January 2026 saw the release of the feature-length film Melania, distributed by Amazon for a licensing fee of $30 million to Melania Trump. Then there's the government of Qatar giving Donald Trump a massive Boeing 7.
So, in your opinion, should I debate Rob on this or should I debate Rob on Iran? Because I think either one is kind of a slam dunk that without some strong admissions and well, Biden did it too is not going to go very far.
747-8, the second largest jetliner on Earth, as a gift to the president so he could use it as a more luxurious,
like a
comfortable
cartoon
replacement
villain.
for Air Force One. Like a foreign government gave the president a $400 million plane, and not only are we using it, we're also not questioning why they did that in the first place. Just in case you guys forgot.
Wait,
let's do
who's
a
we?
recap. Donald Trump has the official merch store, the watches, sneakers, fragrances, guitars, Bibles, coffee table books, NFTs, phones, crypto coins, silver coins, stable coins, the Saudi-backed investment funds, Qatar-backed investment funds, Israeli real estate plays, Gaza redevelopment proposals, Ukrainian reconstruction, profit-sharing ventures, defense and AI startups, Bitcoin mining operations, the Amazon deal. Now a foreign government has given him a private jet. By my count, the Trump family and their friends have generated around $2.3 billion in traceable revenue from politically connected businesses and deals. If you include assets under management, deal value, contract ceilings, federal awards, foreign gifts, and all this other value that they've generated from the presidency, you are actually looking at around $30 billion. And even that's incomplete because we don't have last year's disclosures. We don't have any information on their untraceable crypto buyers. Whatever else is happening behind closed doors, we have no idea. Some of the stuff is just kind of tacky, a little embarrassing, pretty cringe. Some of it honestly looks like bribery.
Yep, that has been my opinion for some time.
There is no president in modern history who has not profited from their status in some way or another. Joe Biden's son, Hunter, was famously appointed to the board of a Ukrainian gas company.
I made that
while his
admission.
father was vice president of the U.S.
Like
and he
Biden had
received
Hunter.
payments of $50,000 per month for 5 straight years, despite admittingly having zero experience in the gas industry or in Ukrainian business. Barack Obama might be the craziest example of all. The guy basically became a Hollywood celebrity after leaving office with an estimated $90 million net worth today. He pulled in $60 million for a number of memoirs. He gets paid $400,000 per speaking engagement, of which he does many. He signed a multi-year Netflix production deal worth $50 million. The guy owns an $8 million home in Washington, just up the street from where the Kushners lived during Trump's first term. On the exclusive elite island of Martha's Vineyard, he owns a $12 million compound that he bought from the former owner of the Boston Celtics. He has a multi-million-dollar man.
Yeah, but all that's not from enriching himself while in office. Like, that's all stuff that he did out of office, maybe some of it while he was in office, but like the money didn't roll in until after he was out of office. Not to say that that's, you know, a great thing or anything, but it's not the same. It's an entirely different beast.
mansion in Chicago, and he's reportedly building a beachfront compound in Hawaii with perimeter walls, guard towers, and multiple buildings on the property. Obama went into the White House an upper middle class senator with a net worth of around $2 million from his home and a book he had written. 17 years later, he's the definition of an elite, influential, well-connected, and very, very rich. Almost 100% of the time, though, both the sitting president and their close friends and families have all agreed to stay out of business, especially politically related business, at least until their terms were over. Most of the time, presidents make their money almost exclusively from book deals and giving speeches, and that's the sort of thing that tops out at a couple $1 million, which is a lot, but in comparison to the list we're tallying here, is almost nothing. There is one instance where President Jimmy Carter, who himself had given up the rights to his $350,000 share in a family peanut farm before entering the White House, ended up getting dragged into a controversy anyway when his brother Billy was caught developing a secret relationship with the government of Libya, including personally meeting with Gaddafi himself at a time when Gaddafi's regime was considered an enemy of America. The story goes that he was attempting to use his tangential connection to the presidency to make connections in the Libyan oil industry for his own benefit. He was partnered with an oil firm in Florida as part of this whole process. He even received a $200,000 payment from the regime as an advance for the oil he was supposedly going to sell for them. When Billy Carter's dealings were revealed, America recoiled. There was a Senate investigation, there was a media panic, and the situation was even given a nickname: Billygate. And all of this was because of a $200,000 check. By the way, that $350,000 peanut business that Carter put in a trust so he could be president, when he left office, the operation was $1 million in debt and had to be sold so his family could recover financially. What I'm getting at is that the presidential attitude on money has been clear for a long time. President Harry Truman famously said, "No young man should go into politics if he wants to get rich
looks like
or if
Paul
he expects an
Bear.
adequate reward for his services. An honest public servant can't become rich in politics. He can only attain greatness and satisfaction through service." Eisenhower, just before leaving office in 1961, similarly said, "In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought."
Wait, Moon, so you're trying to tell me that Paul Bearer is the reason why ducks are dying in the reflecting pool? Are we being serious here? I wasn't ready for that news. This is worse than a WWE presidency, and it even has the kayfabe involved. Obama gonna do Hunger Games in Hawaii. Oh, God.
By the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whoops.
Look, the Trumps have had a family business in real estate since the early 1890s when Frederick Trump was buying land in Seattle. For all intents and
feels
purposes,
too
I'm
stupid to
not
be
morally
true.
against a family real estate business because that's the world we live in right now. There's nothing I'm going to do about that. But when you look at the Trump family business and what it's become, a pattern of extracting value at every possible level, overwhelmingly thanks to their political connections, becomes clear. From selling trinkets and coffee table books to retirees who have no taste, to making really awesome watches, to business deals that flow money from the Saudi government into Israeli real estate while they skim profit off the top, to launching crypto coins that make them hundreds of millions of dollars while their followers lose hundreds of millions at the same time, to investing in companies that are positioned to make money from government contracts that their family's administration is positioned to hand out, to selling shitty Alibaba watches for $800 a pop, to seemingly running deals with foreign governments on the back of their participation in Trump-owned crypto projects. It's grim, it's dark, and if it happened 40 years ago, it would have been a presidency-ending scandal. But the Trump family is not secretly corrupt. They're openly demonstrating that the presidency can be converted into a business model, and no one really cares. I found and then verified this graphic from popular information on Substack that showed that out of 202 articles from the New York Times, Washington Post, Associated Press, CNN, so on and so forth, only 6 of the indexed articles, or 3%, mentioned the conflict of interest arising from Jared Kushner pulling the vast majority of his income from a firm funded by the Saudi government. No one, not Democrats, not Republicans, cares about any of this. The contents of this video contains enough controversy and corruption to end an entire political dynasty, and many dynasties have been ended for far less, but there is very little attention being given to it. But at the same time, why would there be? In a world where copying Nancy Pelosi's stock trades reliably beats the market almost all the time, this stuff just isn't news anymore. We've been trained to expect it, but this is not how it should be. One of the biggest conservative talking points in the last year or two has been about the philosophical distinction of what America is as a nation in regards to the attitudes of recent immigrants. I very often hear these arguments about how people who come to the US, these illegal aliens, do not care about the values of America as a nation. They're not invested philosophically in what we stand for as a people, and that they view the US as not a place to live or to call home or to build your life in, but as an economic opportunity zone that should be plundered for personal and familial gain. And I would agree that these people are right. There are people in the United States plundering our coffers, taking advantage of us, treating the nation, the people, as an economic opportunity zone that can be taken advantage of and have value extracted without having to participate in what makes America, America. I just disagree on one small point, and that is who is doing the plundering. In a time when foundational elements of life itself, like home ownership, future planning, raising children, when that sort of stuff is growing more and more out of reach for the vast majority of people my age, watching leaders who are entrusted with the stewardship of our country use their position to enrich themselves beyond reason, while it becomes progressively more and more impossible to see a stable future for ourselves, it makes one thing very clear. We are indeed a society occupied by a group who seek maximum extraction, while the good, hard-working American people crumble under the weight of these invaders. And these invaders, these aliens, are our so-called elites. These sociopaths who have managed to grab the wheel and are steering us maniacally ever closer to a cliff from which no one will be able to climb back up. I'm Philip. This has been Volksgeist. Thank you for watching.
All right. On to one funny thing, and then I'll probably write out in a horseradish.
Und dann, Hans, pass auf, dann habe ich ihn bei den Schultern gegriffen und mit meinem Pickel aufgespießt. Wirklich, Blut überall. Glorreiches Schlachtfest. Du glaubst es kaum. Ja.
We lagging. Too many things loading.
Ha! Komm hin!
Hands up, Fritz. Fritz?
What you got for me,
No,
Moon?
Fritz is gone. Where's he gone? Well, pretty much everywhere. Yeah. Oh. Put him in the tree. What the hell? Was war das? Ah! What, this old thing? Yes, Winchester, 1897. You have how many? No, that's the model year. Yes, it's a pump-action shotgun. Yes. Shit! No, shot with an O, like, oh my Christ. That's a mess. That is not fair. I only have this. Yes, well, war's hell, isn't it? Well, it is now. Yeah, I mean, you can't use that here. It's inhumane. It causes unnecessary suffering. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, from the creators of mustard gas, everyone. Yeah, really. Funny. You mean spicy air? That's nothing. You have masks for that. We have nothing for this. You're just bitter that we're retaking this trench off of you. Admittedly, you did have it the week before that for a while, but it was ours originally. You can tell, still got all of our high explosives here. That's a point, you've not been underground, have you? No, I'm serious. This is a war crime. Paul, can you stop with the machine gun? I can't think straight. No, this does not belong in a trench, this gun. Yes, well, you're not wrong. It is a bit long, isn't it? Yes. Perhaps if we cut it off about there. Oh, yes, that would then do the job, wouldn't it? We could call it a trench gun. It does get a bit hot. Heat shield would help. And to be honest, I've been getting through quite a lot of ammo today, so I'm thinking maybe bayonet lug for when I eventually run out. Ban it! Ban it now! What? Until you chaps make one? I don't think so. The last thing our logistical chain needs is another variety of ammunition, yeah? Plus, it's too inhumane for the German army, yeah?
Inhumane.
I suppose we could use it against subhumane targets, theoretically. What? Animals! Hunting animals! It could be useful for downed air crews in the future. Yes. Tell me, where did you acquire such a weapon of gruesome power?
America.
Yes, it's American, yes. Got it off one of those Yankee Doodle dandies. You know the song, a Yankee Doodle went to town and bought himself a Winchester M1897. Huh. That's a bit of a fucker. Yes, I'm just sort of trialing it, really. It seems to work, doesn't it? Oh, I don't suppose I could get you to fill out a field evaluation, could I? Actually, I suppose I should ask him, really, shouldn't I?
Speaking of a trial, the German army is now officially taking you to court to seek damages for Fritz here.
I don't know. Think he's had enough damage, hasn't he? I mean, I'll give him another one if you want.
Silence! Show some respect while I cremate my noble fallen comrade.
Christ! Mind the high explosives, wouldn't you? Jesus! This is inhumane. What the hell is that?
That was a Flammenwerfer. Entwerfs Flammen. Auf Wiedersehen, Fritz. Now we'll see you in court. Pick a day.
I mean, you don't even have proof of the crime
There's a
anymore.
mop and bucket if you don't shut up. Now get your hands up, you Bosch bastard!
Let me add that to the charge sheet. Threatening prisoners of war, causing unnecessary suffering. Whew.
Yes, much like this conversation. Jeez, they'd call it the Boer War if there wasn't one already.
What's your defense?
Well, I think we're probably going to win, so I don't really see that it matters, but I don't have one.
Just like young Fritz here.
I can't believe you chaps get barbecue in these trenches. Good grief.
How do you
Look,
know
a
that,
bullet
bro,
from a rifle
tonight?
would have killed him just the same.
But that would have taken skill on your part.
I'm guessing this would have been
weapon
World War
takes
II.
all the skill out of combat. Yeah.
But apparently they were banned. Oh, this is World War One. So apparently they were banned in World War One.
Dusted.
Run! Run, Paul!
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run.
Oh yes, right to left, crosser, low.
Okay, so I just looked it up. So apparently they were not banned in World War One. However, because the American trench guns, like the Winchester Model 1897, were so devastatingly effective in close quarters trench fighting, the German Empire formally protested their use, claiming they caused unnecessary suffering. And the claim was made in September 15th, 1918. So yeah, apparently in World War One, they were using Winchester rifles as trench guns. And the Germans were very unhappy about that, much like in this video.
Slow, but quartering away slightly. Difficult, but doable. Yes.
Hands up, you big war criminal!
Oh, you too, Moon?
Yes, well, I asked first, old chap.
I didn't know it either until I watched this video, and
For
then I
this
had to
scenario,
reconfirm
I
once
think
you
I
said
prefer
it.
my rifle. I imagine the downside of using that scattergun is it has a comically short range as some kind of debuff.
Bruh.
See if I got it.
Für das Vaterland!
Denk immer dran, Paul. Wenn du von der Front weg möchtest, dann schieß dir selber in den Fuß. Aber am besten mit einer gegnerischen Waffe.
Not with a
Dann
shotgun.
kannst du nach Hause gehen.
Not with a shotgun. Bruh. Use a pistol.
Naja, nicht auf dem Fuß, aber du weißt, was ich meine.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. He wouldn't have enjoyed that.
All right, let's
yes,
see
but if you
this.
enjoyed
Can't watch it in here. I'd have to watch it in the thing. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and raid out. It has been a blast, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to see about doing Zephyr's intervention next week, since I don't debate Rob Noor for another 2 weeks, so I got plenty of prep. And yeah, we're going to be chilling. I'll be back on Friday where I debate Razor on whether or not the Blockbuster experience is better than Netflix. And I'm going to let you know how that goes right now. I'm taking his lunch money. Your toys will remain mine until you learn better. Jeez. All right. Been a blast, y'all. Catch you next time and see you soon. Peace.